Is Hello everybody, it's Kirby Grinds, and I'm here with my partner in crime, Tom Schaeffer. What's up, Tom?
Hey Kirby, how's it going?
Friday Fodder, something to try out, and I thank you for letting me figure this studio stuff out and this whole podcast thing. Can't call this a podcast yet; doesn't deserve the title, but we're just chatting. It's Friday.
Yeah, we're chatting.
So I had probably a week ago, maybe two max. I downloaded an image. And really, my only plan for this conversation, because I know we don't really need a plan, the conversation will just flow naturally. And it's kind of been my theme of the week. But like, I wanted to start with an image and a screenshot, and I cannot fucking find this thing. I know it's on my phone, and I can't find it. I can't find it at all. Basically, it was a screenshot, and what I wanted the conversation of, and you'll know exactly. You can visualize it in your head, but nobody else can. So. But basically, it was the screenshot of the web landing page that shout out to Adam Schaeffer did for us at Float Left, announcing the 2009-2010 NBA playoffs edition Roku channel. I just wanted to start with that.
How do I get this to go live on my stuff, man? I don't have my options anymore like I used to.
I don't know.
Oh, that's.
I have no clue.
All right.
I'll give you the video.
That was a good one, man. Huh?
I'll give you the
the video.
You can syndicate it live on your stuff. But like that would have been like a cool graphic to look at and really start the conversation. And we've talked about a lot of shit. I don't know if we ever talked about. We probably have, but like this story does come up kind of still recently. Like back in 2000, let me take you back to 2009, 2010. When you're at a holiday setting with friends and family, and like everyone's like kind of asking, what are you doing? Like, I really struggled describing what the hell it is we did back then. But I'll say no more. And just how did you describe it to people? What the hell was going on? What we were doing? And then did they understand what the hell this was?
Oh man. I used to talk about it. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I don't remember exactly how I would phrase it with people, but I think I may have just said, we were building apps for this thing called a Netflix box, kind of thing. Like it was really, really microscopic back then.
And what were their reactions? Huh?
I mean, no one understood it. No one really could wrap their head. I mean, people obviously knew what Netflix was. So that was the thing that they were latching onto. They just associated it with Netflix. I think I called it like the Netflix box. I kind of went into this story like, oh, it was the Netflix box. Now it's called Roku, but nobody knew what Roku was. And
nobody.
Yeah, I mean, people thought it was cool, but kind of mysterious. But yeah, I mean, it was hard to talk about. It was a hard thing to talk about, to tell people. Like nobody got excited about it because nobody could relate to it. So
my quick story is I would explain we build apps on TV, and they would say apps on TV, what? And I'd say like internet, your TV, your smart TVs with the internet. They're like, wait, internet's on TV, and it just did not go. It wasn't until. And this was probably not until, I don't know, like 13 or 14. We were working with Fox at the time. I think Evelina, doing her thing, was talking to Fox about something else on the time. And so this is specifically with Evelina's Evelina being my wife, of course. We like specifically to her grandma, we just said, she was still trying to figure out, this is now 4 years, like trying to grasp, like, we're doing something about internet on TV and putting apps on the platform. We just like, Grandma, we work at Fox. Like, we work at Fox. She's like, all right. She's at Bunko. Like, oh yeah, Kirby and Evelina, they're doing some stuff with Fox and TV. And like,
you know what?
Yes, exactly.
You know what? Actually, I think I was doing the same thing. I think I was saying, we're building some stuff for the NBA. I think that's kind of what it was. It was for this device, but I was talking more about the clients that we had. And yeah, I was responding to a Twitter question today. I've been all over Twitter like crazy, man. Twitter is, we'll get into that later. But anyway, I was just responding to someone that said, like, what was the key moment that allowed you to decide you were going to jump into your to your startup full time.
Ooh.
And it was like,
dude,
well, it's like, well, if we didn't, we would have been like breaching contracts, and we would have been up Schitt's Creek basically. So we had to commit, like we were committed. It was weird. Actually, the more I think about it, the more I think it's kind of, our situation was really an anomaly, because we had this thing going on. There was such a demand for it, even though it was so new. The brands that knew about it had to be on there. And so these brands were, contacting Roku, and it just happened. Like, it was such a fast moving thing, and we didn't have a lot of time to think about it. It was like, we signed our deal with Mog. That was the catalyst for the whole thing. Like, we had NBA, we were kind of doing that on the side, and then Mog came in, and then it was like, once that contract got signed, which was like, that was the thing that was like, all right, we're off to the races. We gotta go all in on this.
That, in addition to a probation and investigation with our employer at the time,
Right.
which, like, very, very forward thinking in creating video content, getting us into Roku. And yeah, of course, talk about Roku during the holidays with family. Like, what's Roku? I mean, back then, I'm pretty sure there was like 8 people max that worked at Roku. The only sales was on Roku.com or Amazon. Like you have to go even 2 years past that date to their deal with Netgear to even get a Roku anything into a brick and mortar store. And still, then it was not even Roku; it was the Netgear Roku player.
I'll never forget the first time. The first time I thought, wow, we're a part of something really incredible here, was when I saw Roku at Best Buy, and that was probably like, I don't know, man. I was probably like 2011 or something. It was later on. It was a while.
11 or 12, yeah. I remember that as well. And seeing our icons in the back. I mean, there weren't a lot of icons to throw on there. And I remember,
the other thing that was crazy too was the fact that we were building these apps before the channel store existed. So we were shipping them to Roku, and Roku was basically putting them preloaded on the device and shipping them to the stores. So, or shipping them to people, however they were doing it back then, prior to getting the Best Buy distribution. So it was crazy how early we were in that whole thing.
So I want to talk to you about what you're doing now, maybe a little step outside of the media entertainment space. And quickly before we get to that, I think this kind of flows into maybe some of the work and conversations you're having. Like, we discussed at some point, and like, when should we go full time? Like, what is going to like push us to like, all right, we have enough cushion. Also, this is bootstrap. Like, there's no like investors, there's no nothing. It's just like our money. And we were sitting at Panera Bread on PJ Boulevard, Palm Beach Gardens. And do you remember the amount? We said, if we have this amount in the float left bank account, like we're full time. Do you remember that amount? Basically, we never hit there because of kind of what you're already talking about. It was like 250,000. We hit 250,000 in the bank account. We're breaking off for full time, and of course, it didn't work like that. We kind of good push, I guess, came to shove, and we already had an agreement, and it's going to happen. Like, I don't know, and I mean, this is now what you do and helping. Well, I won't say anything about what you do, but kind of those decisions, and let's just go to like, okay, float left. Kind of cap the end of float left for you, and then what you're doing now.
Yeah, well, so the company was acquired in 2019, as you know, and most of the people that know us know that happened. And I had stayed on, technically still there for another day. Stayed on as ran the company still as an independent business unit for the first year. And then this year, for the first half of the year, and then we started to go through some reorg, and we brought on another entity, another business unit of another company. And then that had happened. And so, it was kind of the time that now, which is now called iMedia Digital Services. So the company that acquired Float Left is called iMedia Brands. iMedia Brands spun off between Float Left and Cinecore, coming together. Now iMedia Digital Services, and that group has leadership and has a direction, and OTT is still a big part of that. but it's taking on some other things, and it's just time for me to move on to other things. So I'm I'm excited about it. I'm feeling very. I went through a period of time where I was like, man, I was really like the realization of the whole thing was coming to me. It was hitting me pretty good there. But I feel like it's the right time. It's the right time. I've done what I can do for Float Left as an independent business, and I feel like it's now in really good hands with iMedia Digital Services. And I hope that that's going to be, it's going to be on to bigger and better things with that group. For myself, there was a period of time when we were suffering. It's just as all founders struggle with difficulties and challenges and things. And I was having one of those moments where I just thought, man, if we could just get through this, if I personally can get through this, I'm going to dedicate myself to helping other founders. And so I felt like it was a good time for me to start working on that, start working on essentially a coaching business. I really want to work with founders, new founders, first-time founders, to help them. I kind of go when, I was thinking about it, like in my early days, I had no business experience. I had no idea what I was doing. I was just trying to use instincts and good judgment. And I made a lot of mistakes, failed a lot, made a lot of poor decisions, and I feel like, gosh, if I had better counsel, advisors working with me, outside of the business, right? Like internally, we were always talking with each other, and that was great. But there's just something about having an outside perspective that I think is really important for a founder to have. Someone that you can just bounce ideas off of and say, "Am I crazy or not? Like, is this something that you think makes sense?" And get out of my own head for a little while. So that was something that I thought, okay, I'm really gonna try to do this for other founders. I really think I could help them, and so I'm setting up a business around that, a consulting business, a coaching business, and a community really around it. So it's
and what's it called?
So the company's called Tom Schaeffer and Company. That's the name of the best CEOs. I truly believe that. I feel like the founders of the company are, and whether it's CEO or not, it's just about the founders are the best positioned to lead the company. They're the most passionate. They have the most invested in the business in terms of sweat equity and through the resilience and the passion that they have for the business, I think is really important to have. So how many of those founders, though, because of the fact that they lack proper coaching and guidance, never get to see that, never get to the point where they're able to be really successful and truly unlock what they're capable of. So that's what I really want to do. I want to find these folks and want to work with them and help them be the best that they can be and unlock their full potential. And so one of the other things too with that is what I'm calling the First Time Founders Academy, which is essentially going to be for members, going to be a group of, again, first-time founders sharing information, sharing knowledge, helping each other, supporting each other. It's going to be online courses or a digital course, some digital products. I'm not really exactly sure what's going to be there right now, but it's really again, it's all just about supporting first-time founders and helping them become the best that they can be with their businesses.
And I see you. You might be one of the most active person on LinkedIn now. And one of those ones, and maybe it was just an anecdote as part of part of one of your posts, and talk about resumes and finding the perfect person, and people are kind of coming out the woodwork, like, oh yeah, you did that with me, or didn't do that with me, or like everyone's chiming in on that. But yeah, I mean, every hour of every day, I think I see you kind of up at the top or whatever, and that's awesome. And I mean, in posting that stuff, I know you've been doing a bit of an experiment with that, and then you mentioned Twitter. What has been your experience in kind of going from however often, whatever frequency, cadence you were doing, to like Master Blaster now?
Well, so I realized that LinkedIn is a really powerful platform that with some people, they're utilizing it in a way that's just allowing them to build a really large audience. And with LinkedIn, that audience is really specific to whatever that target, whatever the target market that they're focusing on is. And it seems to be, for some people, it seems to be working really well to just, again, build an audience and then ultimately, hopefully create good contacts and then possibly lead generation through LinkedIn. So the first thing that I knew that I had to get on there, I had been really, because I was the CEO of my company and all that, I had to be somewhat careful about things that I would post on there. And I mean, I probably overthought it, which is, again, going back to some of the things that I've written before. I've overthought that whole thing way too much. But I committed to saying, okay, I'm going to create it's all really just started around like, I'm going to create a content marketing strategy around my personal brand that I'm now developing around this concept of helping first-time founders. So I thought, I'm going to start with LinkedIn. And I wound up taking a course. There's a guy out there. His name is Justin Welsh. You can look him up. He's really fantastic. And he's got a great course, a very affordable. I think it's like, I don't know, it's like $100 on LinkedIn strategy. So I took his course, and some of the key takeaways are, posting at the same time. First of all, consistency in all things, everywhere. It's about consistency, showing up at the same time every day and having, the same messaging or the same structures each day. And so I started doing that. So at the beginning of the month, I just started every day at 8:00. I post, and I struggled a little bit too, because I was like, well, what am I going to post about? I don't know anything. I don't know what my niche is going to be right now. Like, I'm not super focused. And that's the other thing too. It kind of really starts with that. Like, who are you trying to target? How are you trying to help them? And how are you going to do that? Or who is it and how are you going to help them? And I spent a lot of time thinking about that. And then I realized, okay, I just need to start talking about what I know. I don't know exactly how it's going to play out right now. I don't know exactly the individual person, customer type or potential audience type that I would want to target right now. So I'm just going to start posting everything that I know.
Can I pause on that?
I
pause on that? I just asked you a question. So, I mean, it's safe to presume, for the most part, I mean, you're out of the media entertainment space as this is an industry you're zeroed in on. I mean, first-time founders and a lot of these companies, they're not first-time and all that. And I mean, it's a whole new, obviously people know you in that space. So the easiest thing to be would to do something in that space where you have the network you have. But you're doing something where you're finding a brand new audience that you're not connected with for the most part. Sure, you definitely obviously know some entrepreneur people, especially down with the South Florida tech community. But for the most part, like, you have a LinkedIn network. You're now basically like, almost forget them for a second. You're building something completely from like 0 or 5 people that would fall into like that target addressable.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I'm really building a brand new audience. But leveraging my experience and all of that to build, hopefully credibility with that new audience. But absolutely, it's a brand new audience, and I'm not even really sure. Again, I'm still kind of in this first 30 days of just trying to figure out who it is. I mean, again, I know what I'm trying to accomplish with, serving first-time founders, making them better, helping them unlock, their full potential and all of that. But I'm still trying to figure out how I get to them and what is the right messaging that I need to create for that audience. So right now, all I'm doing is I'm just literally again, I'm getting more focused. The last week or two, the posts have been getting a little bit more clear. And that's one thing I want to say, is that for anybody that's watching this, that is also in a position of like, hey, I want to start producing content. I don't really know exactly where I'm going to land with this. You just got to start it, because as you start it, there are signals in there that you'll see to start to resonate. Who is commenting on what, and what are they saying? And then the other element, by the way, which is, it's not just about the posts that I'm posting. It's about me commenting on other people and being very engaged with their posts. So it's about everybody supporting each other. Mark Buff from Mohu. Do you remember Mark, the CEO from Mohu, is all over there, and I think we took the same course and we took it at the same time. So he's sort of following the same path, and we're supporting each other. And Kirby, honestly, like so I had this fear of posting. I'll just say, I mean, I was very anxious about it because putting my opinion out there with my colleagues, it's scary. But the first time I did it, and then the support that I got right away, it really dissipated pretty quickly. And now it's been very supportive, and people are commenting, and I think people recognize when other people are doing it, and they just get behind you and they support you. So it's been really great for that, to just to get that going. And so I've been at it for 30 days, and yeah, I mean, it's been great.
And congratulations again on the launch. You definitely could have been Float Left early days definitely could have benefited from you. Would have been really weird to have like current Tom 2009 and like future Tom in the same room. Like, I don't like a little sci-fi there. But question, like, are there certain thresholds or minimum criteria on the founders you work with? Like, I think like two guys working out of a beach house in 2009. Like, I don't know if we would have had money to give to Tom.
Right.
Are you doing like, obviously Tom needs to be compensated for for what you bring to the table. How do you consider that? And do you think about like kind of like that, is ownership part of this? Like, I know it's only 30 days, but
yeah, I mean, so I to be honest with you, my initial target was, I mean, I was even thinking like tech founder, they definitely need to be kind of on the path. It's not about really me helping them figure out their business strategy and saying, they're coming up with a business plan. I mean, I could certainly do that and help them if that's something that they want me to do, but it's more for, and by the way, this may change because again, I'm still experimenting. I don't really know where the value is going to be, but ideally it would be somewhere they're kind of getting ramped up, maybe early seed round, if not even seed round, they're bootstrapped, but they're, maybe between $500,000 and maybe $2 million of top line annual revenue, kind of getting things rolling. And yeah, I kind of figure it's like that critical time where it's a small window of time. Maybe it's like, I don't know exactly how long it is, depends on the business, but where decisions need to be made, hires need to be made, people need to be fired. It could be a slew of things. We need, rethinking the marketing strategy. What's the narrative of the business? What's the strategy? What are and all of those things, and just supporting the founder at that time, I feel like is really, because that's, again, I think if you get the right counsel at the right time, that's when you can have a better chance of success.
What would you say? I know you probably have to go in a couple of minutes, and maybe this is a good way to wrap up. And by the way, I think the whole like float left, like just go like talk about those things, that could be like a whole like 5, 6, 7 different like there's so much stuff I want to say, but
we should talk about that stuff.
I know. Well, you say consistency, right? So I just put this thing like just messing around, like just testing out the studio thing, Friday Fodder, like shit. Are we now relegated to scheduled programming every Friday at 3 now? I don't know. I don't know. But I want to ask you, like, is there one piece of advice? Well, let me ask you 2 things. One, to like just about your engagements. Like, have you given thought to like how long typically would you engage with somebody? You see this as like give me 3 months or 6 months or it's a year type of thing?
I mean, I'd love to be working with a person for, I mean, I would say at least 6 months. I would say, an initial engagement would be, anywhere between 6 to 12 months just to get started. I think 6 months, I think it takes a little bit of time for, obviously someone to like, I would want to observe someone, how they're taking meetings, how they're dealing with certain situations, and be a fly on the wall for a little while. That'll take some time to kind of get a grasp of how things are going, and then be able to offer the feedback, and then ultimately, kind of track how that's being executed and see that. So I feel like you need at least 6 months to do something like that.
So if there's one piece of advice you give to a first-time founder, what would that be?
Oh man, there's so many things.
I can give you mine.
Go for it. Yeah.
Like, it's not planned. It just like popped in my head. Like, well, this must be like what I will give you then is that, well, first of all, entrepreneurship is very much a path. It is a path. But why it's uncomfortable for many people is because if I use GPS as an analogy or MapQuest, is you know how long it takes to get to Palm Beach County to Charlotte, North Carolina. It's going to take you about 9 to 10 hours. Like, this is very comfortable. I know I'm going to be there 9 to 10 hours. I've taken stops, maybe 11 and 12. Entrepreneurship, like you know where you're going to go. Like, it's the small steps. Every day, you know you're getting closer to that end destination, but you have no fucking clue when you're going to get there.
Right.
And that's scary shit for a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, I think you have to, I mean, I would say the most important thing is to think about, what are you trying to accomplish? And then it really cannot be connected with revenue. I mean, revenue is great. Obviously that's important. Yeah. That's what every company needs to have is revenue. But I think that it's really important for a founder to start thinking about, again, what are they trying to accomplish? What is it? Why are they doing it? And not even, again, the business aspect of it. What are they trying to get out of it themselves? What do they want? What kind of company that they want? Do they want to build? And really focus on the team. I think the team is those early hires and are so critical for the long-term success of the business. So, I mean, practical, actual things like that and how you go about doing that, that's a whole nother story. But I would just say, yeah, it's really about finding that fire and that passion about what you're trying to do. What are you trying to accomplish? Because if you don't have that, to your point, if it's just about money, then I think that you're just setting yourself up for failure because it's painful and it's it is a long-term thing. And I think if you try to build something to just, maybe that's a better way to sum it up. It's like, don't do this for the exit. You got to do it because you want to be doing something on a regular basis. Like, you see yourself being a part of this team. You're building something that's going to make an impact in some industry somewhere. Identify what that is early on so that you can have the resilience to get through the tough times.
Yeah. Something I learned while actually writing a ceremony. I officiated my stepbrother's wedding a couple years ago. While I was writing the ceremony, I talk about the ring and how it symbolizes the circle of life or love. There's a couple analogies I used for the ring, but ultimately, like towards the end, I brought up the ring again and talked about how just like this couple's love, like it had to start from scratch and like cultivate into this love, just like the ring, like didn't come out of the ground like in a circle, like polished with a diamond on top. Like it also had to been started from like a mineral or whatever, however build you were. It's been a long time since I did that ceremony, but basically, like I still remember the takeaway that I just like had an aha moment writing that. I said, "Oh shit!" And I realized the two things that drive me in life: it's making things. And it could be companies, it could be float left, like even a pizza from scratch. Like I love making things. Like it's the coolest thing in the world. And if I can't make something, like have an opportunity to make it better. So maybe kind of like what you're doing with first time founders, like that's my two drivers. Make something. If I can't make it, I want to make it even better.
Like for me right now, to give you an example of what I mean, the number one thing, it's not money. It is, if I thought that I could have a conversation or a series of conversations with someone and have them recognize something within themselves that they didn't notice or they didn't pick up on, that no one's told them that they have this ability or this talent or this superpower, they should be leaning into that more. And then they go and do that. And now they're on another level. And for me, at this stage of my life, not when we started Float Left, but like right now, where I'm at right now, that for me would be the most gratifying thing. And I realized like some of our employees over the years, I've had conversations with them and coached them a little bit. Wasn't intending to do that, but that's just kind of how it worked out and unlock some things in them. And I feel like now I'm seeing them do other things, and it's really cool. Like I feel like that's what drives me. That's what gets me excited.
Do you have time for one more bonus question?
Yeah.
What do you think about, there's definitely like a culture or a glorification of entrepreneurship. Like, what are your thoughts on that whole thing? Like, everybody wants to be like entrepreneurs, like the cool thing. Everybody wants to be one. Like,
yeah.
What are your thoughts with that?
I think it's great that more people are getting exposed to what's possible with, starting their own businesses. But I also think that it needs to be, there's a lot, like you said, it's so weighted on the side of, hey, just, take control of your life and, and stop, screw the man and all this other thing. I mean, people just need to get a dose of, here's what you need to mentally prepare for. A lot of sleepless nights, stress. I mean, you got to really take care of your health. I mean, it's doable, but there's just a lot of things that if you're not prepared for it, I think it could be, it's like, man, this sucks. I thought entrepreneurship was cool and sexy, but man, this is like, hey, I'm working twice the amount of hours for half the money. That's why I go back to advice number one. It's like, you gotta have something about it. You gotta love the process of it.
Yep. And you gotta love what it is too.
You gotta love what it is.
And sincerely mean this with all my heart. Like, you want to be an entrepreneur, you're gonna get punched in the fucking face. And you got to be okay with that. And you're not going to not work for the man. You're going to work for men, women, people that are your clients. And exactly. I definitely like the idea, like people doing their own things and ventures, but I think it's over glorified. Like, it's not sexy.
Right.
I mean, maybe at some point, if you're Jeff Bezos on a rocket ship with your cowboy hat and all your money, but I mean, the grass is always greener as well. But like, it's a battle. Be prepared.
It is a battle.
It's a lot easier to go work somewhere else.
Yeah, and I think people need to just understand, like, there's nothing wrong with doing that. I mean, some people just, and it's not to say that and I also think that that's part of the culture too, that they tend to shun people that work for, that just want to get normal jobs, and that's cool. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, not everybody wants to. I think once you get into it, like I said, I think you discover quickly that, wow, this is way, way more to think about than I realized, and I just want a simpler life. I mean,
like, ask me what I did, why I said I needed to postpone. Well, I had to postpone because other schedule conflicts, but like, ask me what I was literally doing before I jumped on this studio call. So we fucking like tax forms, like for the company, like, because the deadline's on Monday, like, that's not fun, but you got to do it, or it just finds. I guess I should have somebody to do that, but there's so much stuff that you would never think of, like just all the stuff I remember in the beginning. Like, wait, we have to get a business, like all these licenses, and I don't even remember what all these things were like at the town of Jupiter, and like, my goodness, like we're just trying to build stuff. Like, get out of here with our papers and.
Yeah, I mean, it was exactly. Like, it becomes, there's a point where what you're trying to do, like, is cool, but now you actually have to start thinking about the functions of the business. You have to think about getting an accountant, and like you said, like having someone that can manage your books and your financials, and it's like, it's a lot. It is a lot, but I would say, for me now, coming out of it, starting something new. And by the way, like, whoa, coming back to like ground zero again with a brand new business with like no marketing person, no product person. It's on, like, I'm back to wearing like 20 hats again. And it's cool. Like, it's cool, but man, it is a lot of work. You got to set up your brand. You got to get everything going. You got to get your website set up. You got to, it's a lot.
It is cool, and I will say, at least for me, like, there's no better ride. But man, it's not a smooth ride. It's like driving a raggedy old Jeep that bounces around, no suspension. Like, it's fun, but man, it's rough and it's brutal. When I started 4320, I mentioned this often. Really, it was like, man, it's been like, there's so much just like clerical and administrative stuff right at the beginning, setting everything up, books and corporations, accountants, CPA, like all this stuff. I just straight up forgot about. Like, I don't know how many years it was since Float Left had to do all that in the beginning, like starting something. And just everything else too, like building the brand. What is this company doing? What's the value prop? And I made because you're doing this all now. I said to many people, whoever those people are, so long ago, I was like, shit, man, I miss having a co-founder. There's a lot of shit, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh my goodness. The first few months I was just doing paperwork.
Yeah, maybe that's another, maybe that's like advice number 1B, which is like, get a really good co-founder that you can share some of the load with, because it is a lot and it's overwhelming. And I feel like people, if again, now in my position now, I know what to expect. So I'm not as terrified perhaps of what I have to do. I know what I have to do a little bit more, but man, in the beginning, it's just so overwhelming. It's just like, gosh, there's a lot to figure out, but
you have to go.
Yeah, I mean, I got like 2 more minutes. 4:15. Right. Yeah. You got another bonus question?
I do have a bonus question, actually. I mean, we agreed on the name Float Left.
Yeah.
Do you know where the name inspiration came from? I don't know if you know. This is a bonus question that's going to trick a co-founder.
Well, it came from Float Left. We were Float Left Studios, if you remember.
Oh yeah, and obviously there's significance with cascading style sheets, but there's an onion skin level outer or higher.
Really?
Yeah, I held on to this until now.
I don't know.
I've told some people through the years, like last 3 years, I started like sprinkle in. Actually, you know where this name, like idea came from? That like we thought it was a cool name and it referenced cascading style sheets, and we started as a web development company. So there was, and I did a Google, like, I don't know if you saw me on the screen. I was just trying to Google, is this company still around? I didn't pull anything up, but that doesn't mean they're not still around. There was a really cool, a web agency out in Australia I really respected at the time. And maybe they're still doing cool stuff. I just didn't see them. But it was also a hard thing to Google when you're Googling anything cascading style sheets related. The company name was Clear Right out of Australia. And I was like, they're doing hot shit from one side of the world. We can maybe I like the name too. Like what's something else? CSS, like, well, Float Right. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know that. Float Left. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. That's where the name inspiration came from. And I don't know if that makes anyone feel less of me, but we're the Bizarro Clear Right. I thought I love the name. I love the name. I just thought about Float Left the other day. I was like, shit, man, that's a good name. And I remember like we would get calls from people like, hey, do you do floating chambers? Like, what the hell is a floating chamber? Which I learned is a densely salt filled water in a chamber, and you float, and it's like a sensory experience and all that. But like, definitely, I thought Netflix was calling. It's Clara out of Jupiter trying to sit in a floating chamber.
I had a couple of people say that they asked about our political affiliations and things like that over the years. By the way, over the years, when I would get asked, like if I was on a podcast or not podcast or interview or a panel or something about where the name came from, I would say things like, because it did take on a different sort of name, at least for me, which was that we didn't follow, everyone's kind of going like we're zigging while they're zagging type of thing.
The Kansas City Shuffle.
Yes.
You know about that?
That's kind of how I related to it as we got down the path a little bit.
Hell yeah.
Kind of breaking the rules, not doing things in a conventional way, and finding our own path, and kind of not necessarily paying so close attention to keeping them in the rear view a little bit, our competition, but really just focusing on what we do best. And
it's easy to do as a small, nimble company. Like I remember, without saying names, I remember there was I could say names. What's going to happen? But I remember there was a company out of Silicon Valley, Bay Area, that was doing basically our competitor, and they it just got 12 million in funding. And I remember thinking, fuck, we might even went to Thirsty Turtle, like hash it out, like let's get out of the office, let's just think about this, what does this mean, like, oh man. And they birthed through that within 2 years, done. A lot of people work there. I don't know how many, but they're not they couldn't be as nimble as quick. And also, who knows who knows that story? But we're just guys, a dozen people at this point.
Yep. And if you go back in time and you think about from the beginning, how many of those companies that we identified, and we were shitting ourselves over these companies, and then eventually, we just kept staying and we would just say, hey guys, we just need to stay focused. Let's just stay focused. Okay, I hear that, but we just got to stay true to what we do.
On that note, I was always more focused with competitors than you were, and I think it was just a byproduct of what I was doing at Float Left. But you had a recent comment about your competition. I want you to speak that wisdom.
Yeah.
I mean, it's perfect segue right into that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's completely irresponsible and an oversight for a lot of founders when they're thinking about strategy and they're thinking about competition to instantly think about the competitors that they have as mortal enemies. And we were that way in the beginning. I actually had a conversation with a potential strategic advisor. I was building an advisory board at one point that didn't pan out. That I had this one conversation with it. It brought me, he asked me about that. And I thought, wow, that's really interesting. And because it certainly depends on the industry, right? Like our industry was so broad. We were doing a specific thing within that, in other words, to deliver a service, you need all these components. We were delivering a single component. And some of our competitors did that horribly, but they were doing it. So technically they're competitors. And they were also doing other things that we didn't do or did terribly. And so we thought, hey, let's find areas where we can work together and generate business for each other. The market was so big. And so I think that, whether you can do it or not is a different thing, but I think everybody should take a look at that and say, is this an opportunity for us to create a partnership here? And I'd be, and again, I mean, we've done it. And not only have we partnered with companies, we've actually made some of them customers, which is mind blowing. So companies that we thought were absolutely competitors, I don't want to talk to those guys. I'm gonna thumbs down every single post that they put on social media. At one point became customers. So you gotta.
Is that why YouTube removed the dislike button, because you were just tapping out all the Float Left competitors? That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So. All right, man. So I'm gonna say it. We're gonna say it live. Is this Friday? What are we calling it? Friday what?
I did it quick, so I put Friday Fodder, which pretty sure if you remove the with Kirby, everybody has a Friday Fodder. So yeah, I don't know. You just did it. I know you were logging in. It's like I need it to say something. So with Friday Fodder, I think I spelled everyone's name right, including my own. So I mean, yeah, consistency. Maybe this is the thing now.
Yeah, and I mean, like, we should, we'll come up with some good talking points, and I mean,
and there is, and I did tell you, and I'm afraid to say this, but also I have nothing. I don't throw anything out there. Like I have no filter in that way. But definitely, about this like streaming industry podcasts, because I think this is something else too. I definitely have a streaming podcast I want to do, streaming and pertaining to the media and entertainment industry. That I want to do, but the way I want to do it logistically, it's not the easiest thing, and ideally it wouldn't be virtual. But also, I realize maybe it has to, which is why I love you entertaining me with that and figuring out the studio thing and the event that this thing needs to go virtual. Like, let me get a feel for it. And being virtual, obviously, it'd be a lot easier being in person in terms of I don't know, conversation, but not logistically. But I don't know. Like I had a good conversation earlier in the week. Like you call it a webinar. What's a webinar? It's an online seminar. What's a seminar? I don't know, a meeting or discussion. So I guess it was just a discussion with a good friend of mine, Carson from NPAW. You know it. You must know NPAW, right?
Yeah.
And the thing was, like, I had an outline. I was like, why is there an outline? Like, I don't need an outline here. And just had a good conversation. And kind of right from that, I realized, like, you know what? Like, I have just as good of a time virtual than I do personal. I just can't touch and hug people.
Yeah.
And it's still good. Yeah. Like, you got me laughing with the dislike, the competitive. Like, that would be me in a restaurant. Like, it's not a whole lot different. Like, we can have some beverages and food. And
we've done a couple of virtual happy hours. That was interesting.
I did the not the boxer, the whatever, the hot chip challenge. I did that with a bunch of people virtually.
Oh, really?
One day, which there were probably 12 people on there. I think 10 all did it, no problem. And we're like, this is stupid. Can we just cancel this meeting because nobody's feeling the pain? And I don't know everybody else. I didn't know everybody on the call well. It was kind of like somebody selected the curated who should be able to do this, because they were able to get a hold of like 12 of these chips and they sent it out to all of us. And for me, at least personally, I know 4 or 5 hours after I hit the disconnect button on there, hits my stomach, painful, like one of the worst pains of my life. Like I was downstairs on my couch watching TV. I made myself fall asleep because the pain was that bad. I woke up from the sleep thinking, well, I just want to go upstairs. It took me about 6 attempts of going up the stairs, making it halfway to go back down because the pain was so brutal, to go lay on the couch again. It was that bad. Chip? From one chip, but going down, no problem. Like we're all joking, but like as soon as it hits the stomach, that capsaicin or whatever it is, I don't know if I'll do that again. It's just a different heat. If it hits the stomach, it's uncontrollable. You can't really do anything with that. You can't drink milk.
I thought it was more like once it just gets through your mouth.
I thought so too. Mouth, no problem. It was a pretty dry, gross chip though, as far as going down.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen a couple of people do that.
And so I mean, I love the tangents here. Talk about a hot chip. But okay, one last final question. I know you have to go. I kept you like 30 minutes before. People are probably yelling at you. You're leaving the meeting.
My son right now playing saxophone downstairs. He just got a new saxophone.
I keep hearing something now you say that. Like that's definitely a saxophone. It sounded like maybe because I hear like tunes of it, like notes of it. It sounds like maybe somebody's moving a chair on the floor. I
know. That's what I thought. Maybe like somebody's trying to move a table across the floor, but no, he's playing the saxophone. We had the French. Nice. We had the French horn. He took it back because he couldn't. Like he had an issue with it or something. I was like, man, he should have kept the French horn, but.
So I'm not losing you, but the media entertainment industry might be losing you, which is a little sad. And it's a finicky industry that we didn't come from to begin with, right? It's because we accidentally discovered this Netflix player and built like the 5th Roku app that we even get into this space. Like, we didn't come from media entertainment. Like, so my question is a final question. I promise. Is like, what are your parting words? Not like thanks for all the memories, but like to the media entertainment space, just with all the chaos that's going on now. Maybe there are no parting words, but like anything you want to say, like because you're leaving. So it's like, here's what I'm going to say. See you later.
No, I'm super. I'm actually, I mean, you don't know. I may pop up from time to time. You may still see me out there with some things, but oh wow, that's really bad. Hey, you're ruining my ending here. Hold on a second.
No, keep it going. It's good. Is that Ben?
Oh my gosh. Anyway, I would say I'm excited about the industry. I really am. I think there's a lot of really interesting things. I'm excited about what's happening with, these. There's a handful of startups that are coming up now with dealing with specifically with fast, aggregating fast channels and some of the technology around that. I just think it's a great time. It's a great time to be in the industry. I think it's very exciting. I think it's accelerating. And it's hard to believe that, I mean, we've been in it for so long, 12 years we've been in it. And to think that it's just getting started is actually kind of mind-blowing, but it really is. It's still like there's people out there that are saying that we're still in the infancy stages of this industry and where it's going to go. And there's companies doing really innovative things with, still like even like VR, which hasn't really taken off yet for this type of, industry. But there's companies that are doing some things there that are cool. So I don't know, man. I'm excited. I think that the companies that are doing well and are staying ahead of it are going to be in good shape. A lot of good things going on. And what you're doing is really cool. And you've got a really great opportunity. You're already working on it, but I think you got a great opportunity to just report on what's going on out there and servicing your customers and it's a great time. It's a great time to be doing it. I'm definitely going to be lurking from the sidelines and still staying up to date on things. But yeah.
But when I start to see people chime in on your stuff and like I never even heard of this person, like you're tapping to a whole new thing, which is super exciting. Like I love this space. I also just like so I'm super curious for about other industries, and when I see like established people like explore the things, it's just really fascinating. So, congrats again on that. And it's scary, but you're not you're an entrepreneur. Like that's not going to scare you. And now your world just got bigger, which is super cool.
Yeah.
And the way this world works, like who knows what you're jamming on 1 year from now in some space totally unrelated, doesn't come back to media entertainment. And now you're like more immersed in the media entertainment space than you ever been, because that's just the way the world works.
It is.
With like introductions to new people, to new companies, to like those things find their way back so many times more than not. Like it's wild.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately at some point I'll lean on, I may be just leaning on what I may be forced to lean on what my experience is, right? And so in addition to being running a business, but also having certain industry knowledge that may be useful for someone or some company at some point, we'll see. But I mean, my strategy really is now, instead of thinking real big, it's really, really, really narrow and deep. So going real narrow with who I'm targeting and who I want to work with, and which is that's another episode for another day, about niches and how narrow you can get, and the potential there is still incredible. There's such a even going really narrow and deep on a specific topic, or even a micro topic, you'd be amazed at how many people are out there that are in your target. So
obviously people can. What's your website? I just closed it.
Website is thomasschaeffer.co. That's kind of the starting point. I'm still, it's kind of early days right now, so it's just the initial website. But I'm going to be putting a lot of links and items there that will guide you where you need to go based on what you're doing there. But that's going to be your starting point.
And your newsletter has that launched yet? I know there's a box to sign up.
Yeah, I have I'm running it right now through Review, which is part of Twitter. So it's essentially, and I'm also going to bring it over to Substack as well. But I'll put links to that on the website too. Because to be honest with you, I'm not even sure what I think it's like Thomas Schaeffer dot, I don't know, some crazy domain name, but I'll put links on the website for that too. But if you just go to the website and you just sign up for the newsletter, you'll get access to that as well. And that's going out. That's every Tuesday. I'm putting out a new newsletter.
Nice. I love Tuesday.
It's a lot going on Tuesdays.
And
I also I do have a podcast. I did episode 1 of my podcast, which I haven't really been pushing yet because I'm still kind of getting it going. But episode 1 is it's called the Founder's Journey.
Is this live on Spotify?
It's on Spotify right now.
Oh, and is this with some of the tech you showed me? Platforms.
Yeah, I think so. It should be on Apple and Spotify, and I did it through Anchor, which is really great. Makes it really easy for distribution.
Okay, it's like super easy, like so easy. I can take this and just upload it, and I have episode 1.
You got background music. You can introduce background audio onto your vocals. It's really, really easy. It's just an intro episode. It's like 8 minutes or something, just introducing what it's all about. But I'm going to be doing a weekly podcast, and I'm trying to get some guests on there right now. Love to have you on there. I would definitely you're one of my top people that I want to get on there in the beginning, just because I think makes sense. Cool. And yeah, I'm cranking content out like crazy, man.
Get me now. Let me get me in an early one where you found like bigger, better guests.
Well, why don't we do? Yeah. Well, that's not what I meant, but
hey, self-deprecation humor. Come on, it's Friday.
I just meant that I thought it would be great to have us because of how things happen. I think it'd be cool to get us on there but get into some specific things and get into some more of like, I would love to hear your kind of what you were dealing with back in those days and some of that stuff. So it'll be me interviewing you for a little while but yeah, it's cool. I'm excited. I've got some other stuff set up possibly for maybe putting that on a YouTube as well, because like record the episode and then put it out.
Definitely do YouTube. I mean, you're going to record it like this, right? It's not just going to be audio. Like my thing when I do it, I really want to do it. Like it always was going to be video because it's It's more exciting than just audio.
Listen, when you're a solopreneur, right, you got to figure out ways to create workflows that make sense. And sometimes, like if I can kill two birds with one stone by just putting on a camera on me and doing the audio and get the pod. And by the way, interesting little
more distribution too.
For distribution, right? And what's interesting too is when you do a Zoom recording, the camera's not great. I mean, you can do another camera with Zoom, but when you record your Zoom sessions, it actually creates two versions. One is audio only, and the other one is your video and the audio. So you've got two distribution things right there with just one Zoom recording. So, I mean, I was actually recording my Zoom session as my podcast. And then I thought, well, if I want to do the video, I can push the video out somehow as well. So there's ways that you can, kind of kill one bird or two birds with one stone.
Well, it sounds super easy and logistics, for my thing, trying to figure that out. Like if it is remote with what you're doing, like if I just steal your platform stack, like we got, like, it's ready to go there.
You're ready to go. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, congrats on the podcast.
Thanks, man.
And did you say that there's like a platform, something you're building, like a product?
Yeah, so I'm creating it's called the First Time Founders Academy. It's essentially going to be a hub for first-time founders to share information, make connections, find mentors, be mentored, all that stuff. For mentors to find people that they can work with, and just to kind of it'll have it like a Discord, and it'll be we'll do some maybe do some Facebook Lives or some sessions, and we'll share some information with each other. And I don't think it's going to be paid initially. It's just going to be, you just register and you can join. But I am developing that. I also, as part of that, I am developing an online course, an ebook, and those are going to be sold via the First Time Founders Academy. Is going to be the centralized place for all those digital products.
I asked about the product because I wish you well on the services and on the advisory portion, but dude, you're a product visionary, is why I say that. And to have a product piece to this, like this is for a whole other thing, but like Tweepster and just your head's far further than a lot of folks or has been, probably still is. And I'd love to see that come out with whatever's next or next and next.
Got some ideas. I've got some things I'm working on. To be honest, like the coaching and that aspect of the business is essentially like when you're way down the funnel and you're sort of like, I just need more. I need more than I can get from the community and from these digital products. I just need some, and ideally that would be how people would get to that place. I mean, I don't know that that's necessarily going to be, like right now, everything's wide open. There really isn't a funnel. I just want to connect with people and help wherever I can right now. But yeah, I think, I definitely have some ideas. Obviously I have some things I need to be careful of, not trying to get too deep into things that I've done before for a little while. I've got some, as per my agreements and things like that.
Oh, I was going to ask you if you wanted to start an app development company. Too soon?
Yeah, man, I need a little break for that for a little while. Just a little break for a little while. Yeah. But hey, I mean, we might be talking about it. This might be a different conversation in a few months. Maybe I'll want to get back into it sooner than later. But right now, I'm all focused on this right now. So we'll see.
There's so many.
I'm trying to find my voice, man. I'm still trying to find my voice.
Well, so far so good. Your voice is all over my shit. So good job.
Good.
And I've said last question so many times, not going to say it again, but like, I just keep thinking there's so many just float left, just things like, I don't know what the audience would be for that. I think there's so many cool stories and just like,
well, let me end it with this.
Yes, please end it because I'm going to keep this going until you here's the end button.
Here's a great way to end it. And you may know this better than I do, but I'll just tell you that over the past few weeks, through channels and other things that I won't get into, the depth, what we've created at Float Left was a very impactful brand. It's been how do I say this? It's had an impact deeper than I actually realized, with various people being associated with it, knowing someone that's been associated with it, that, and the reputation of the brand. It's something to be really proud of. So I just thought you should know that. I've thought that, but I've been having some actual validation of that, and even some things that were surprising to hear, like, wow, I would have never thought that this person or this entity had that much information and appreciated what we were doing so much. And that's been quite the discovery over the past few weeks. How deep it's gone, how impactful it's been on people that I would have never expected, and how far it's gone. So I think if you go back to the beginning, the objectives were met, in that we just wanted to have an impact. We just wanted to do something really interesting and move the industry forward, and do something that was going to help that happen. Be stewards of that new industry that was developing back in those days. And based on what I'm seeing now, what I'm hearing now, I should say, that's been, I think we've accomplished that.
I've received random messages, and it's also come in conversation, like, oh yeah, float left, like so much, for lack of better words, praise. It's not praise, but like just compliments rather. And it just blows my mind, like makes me feel so warm and fuzzy. And something we could get in on your podcast, or something like just like first time founders, like something I don't do well is celebrate wins. And also, like, I don't love to receive compliments. Like, I love them. No, rather, I love to receive them, but like, I don't really know how to react. Like, I know it's cool, like, shit, you started float left. And if somebody's like, that was so amazing what you did, I'm going to probably say, thanks.
Well, I
don't know. Like that's just,
I think what you need to do is think of it in terms of, I'm on the right track. Like, it's validation that what you're doing is working, and that you're on the right track. And again, you may not exactly know where you're going exactly, but you know that you're headed in the right direction. And so that, I think that's how I receive that stuff.
Yeah,
that's how I would take that stuff.
Even the float left stuff, where the track's kind of concluding in its previous form, and so there's like definitely that went on the right path. But it's like, I love it. I can internalizedly be like, I'm crying inside with happiness, but like, I don't know, like, it's just like, I don't know, like, there's some psychology thing we're gonna crack. Like, I don't externalize how much I appreciate that, which everybody's got their kind of, I don't know if that's a flaw or what is.
You mean appreciate the compliment, you mean?
Yeah, or like, hey Kirby, sweet long sweater, like awesome. Like in my head, I'm like, awesome, like all right, cool, man, yeah, I like it too. Like, I don't know.
I get that.
Whatever that is, just said it to the world, or at least all 4 people that clocked in, probably.
That's it, man.
But hey, putting yourself out there, like that's super huge too. Like, that's my advice for you. I mean, you've already done it, so you already know. Like when I started just writing stuff, like just write it, and I'll kind of like write it. I'll close the app and like I'll go back, like, oh yeah, like people are responding, or like especially videos. Like I might like disappear from that like social platform for a day or two. Like I don't care, I'll do it, but and then just do it. And now at this point, like here you are, like I'm live. It's probably like ring on your phone, you're watching it. I don't care anymore. Like
you got to like and again, like I'm talking to myself. Like this is the biggest lesson that I've learned, is that I've wasted a lot of years. I mean, how long have I wanted to do a podcast? I've been.
Oh my God, dude! I remember when I wasn't too happy with you. I walk in your office. You got all this equipment, like you're doing a podcast. I'm like, dude, we gotta scale up, get more clients, get more this. We got to build out the product. We don't have time for podcasts. Hey,
no,
I might have been wrong. I might have been wrong the whole time.
Yeah, no, I think.
I was like, how much you spent on this?
Yeah, I wound up getting some pretty decent gear, and I wanted to go all in on it. I really was trying to get the Float Left podcast going, but just didn't happen. But I think a lot of it was, I don't have enough information. I don't know enough. I feel like I'm not ready yet for whatever reason.
Which is wild, because let me stop you there. And oh my God, I realize how late you are. Is because for an entrepreneur, such as yourself, to like wait for the information is super bizarre, because entrepreneurship is basically like you're taking the test immediately, but you learn the lesson afterwards. Like there is no information. Entrepreneurship, just like putting yourself out there, like you put yourself out there, then you learn the test.
Yeah.
Or then you learn the lessons. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I
so
don't
that's
know.
That's a wild hang up. Like it didn't really float left and other things. Like you got in there, but just put the takeaway.
I think with the business was more. It was pulling us along. Like we put some things out there, and then things started to happen, and so the business was kind of like we were along for the ride at that point, and we were just trying to keep it like somewhat on track and all that. But like with me, like, and I think now whatever I do is myself. It's a direct reflection on me as a person. You know, I tend to not be very opinionated. I tend to be more diplomatic. I tend to try to resolve conflict and introduce conflict. And I think sometimes, like, when you put yourself out there and you want to attract attention to yourself, which is ultimately what I'm trying to do with building an audience, you kind of have to do things like that may be uncomfortable for you. But once you start doing it, I mean, within the first day or two, it got better. And then again, the last thing I'll say, and I'm going to close on this.
Please.
The ultimate irony is that people like me that are overthinkers and overanalyzers that wait for all the information never comes, because you don't get the information until you start doing it. And you get the information from doing it. You learn about, oh, that post didn't really work so well. Maybe that's not my thing. Oh, this is more of my thing. Oh, people are responding to that. Maybe that's what I need to lean into more. But you don't have that information until you start. And so, like, that whole thing has been such a mind, for me. Like, and I just said, screw it. Like, hey, man, we've just been through 2 years of COVID. People are like dying. I mean, like, life is short, and I'm just tired of this. It's just sort of tired of. So it's kind of like, it's weird how Float left and this is sort of happening at the same time. But I really just wanted to start pushing myself to do that and have the courage to say, screw it. I'm just going to write what I want to write and push the publish button and then just walk away from the computer and see what happens. And it's been incredible last 30 days. So, and because of what's happening, it's pushing me to write better content, to be more concise with my language, and to be a better writer, and to be more thoughtful. And so the whole thing is snowballing, and it's really cool.
That's awesome to hear.
Yeah.
And
all right, man.
Yeah, I'll just end it with, you want to swim with the current, you got to jump in the water.
Yeah, man.
That might exist. If not, man, that was a decent one. Thomas Schaeffer of Thomas Schaeffer & Co., thomasschaeffer.co. Float left, co-founder, brother from Philly, not from Drake, from Drexel, remember?
Yeah.
Thank you for doing this. Congrats on the business, the podcast, the newsletter. Looking forward to the product, whatever products you're going to be banging out. Maybe that's too much. I don't know. Look forward to seeing it. Definitely try Renati's in Port St. Lucie.
Okay.
And I will. Talk to you very soon.
Yeah, man. It was great talking to you again. Maybe we'll do it again next Friday. Hopefully we will.
All right. Thanks, buddy.
All right. See ya.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.